Hello everyone, Yonstar here, and while we're preparing for Halloween, I thought I'd tell you some spooky tales. Today I'll be talking about things I was afraid of as a kid, and some things I'm afraid of now. As a kid, I had a very common fear: dolls. I wasn't afraid of them at first. I was a little girl who loved her dolls. One of my favorites was this baby doll in a Dalmatian onesie. But then, I was taking a nap in my parents' room while holding it, when I had a vivid nightmare about the baby doll stabbing me to death. I had a hard time looking at that doll for a long time. I also saw the music video for Blue by Birthday Massacre, and the dolls in that were scary to me. I still like dolls though. Like my collection of Disney princess dolls. I used to keep them in my room, but sometimes I'd put them in another room. One of these nights, I was sleeping in my bed when I had the same nightmare. Except this time, it was my Cinderella doll. I woke up, freaking out that I'd had the same nightmare around 7 years apart from each other, but as I looked up, I froze. The Cinderella doll was laying right in my doorway. Realistically, my brother probably left it there or something, but it was terrifying. I never slept with my dolls in my room ever again. There was also this realistic Superman doll that my parents bought my brother, and I had a nightmare where it moved, so I always covered it up afterwards because I didn't like when it looked at me. I still have a love of dolls, but sleeping in the same room with them makes the hairs on my neck stand up. Now, my parents love horror movies, and while I love horror movies more than anything now, it scared the hell out of me as a young kid. Like when I saw one of the Chucky movies at around 4 years old. Actually, that might explain the doll thing. But sometimes even the covers of horror movies scared me, like the Evil Dead 2 poster that made me cry, or the Dead Alive poster that I saw while eating hot dogs once and I felt physically ill. The biggest one, though, was the VHS for Hellraiser. Pinhead's blank stare haunted me. I also used to think that his head was floating above a monochrome ocean, but that's probably because I saw the Godzilla one and conflated the two. Even just the side of the sleeve scared me. I started actually enjoying horror movies when I was around 9, and I watched Hellraiser when I was around 10, even though I was probably too young for my parents to show it to me. It's such a good movie, and I love it to this day. I also made up a fake doll girlfriend for Pinhead called Dollface, who looked like an edgier Ragatha, and I'd imagine Dollface and Pinhead throwing me into the Monster House. Speaking of which, Monster House. I saw that movie when I was very young. It came out in 2006, which is when I was 2, though I don't know if I saw it when it came out. I don't even remember seeing it for the first time. That's how young I was. And it terrified me. I couldn't even stand seeing the DVD spine. I had to turn it around. I remember trying to face my fears and watch it, but the menu freaked me out so bad I had to flee the room and beg my parents to turn it off. But when I was older and we had cable, Cartoon Network showed Monster House, and I was able to watch it without being scared. I love Monster House now. Another movie I got scared by was Fantasia 2000, but not by any of the contents of the movie. Instead, I had a nightmare about the green nature lady, and I couldn't see her without freaking out. I wasn't afraid of the firebird that chased her, I was afraid of her. No idea why my brain looked at this and thought it was the peak of horror, but oh well. Moving away from movies, though, being a child on the internet in the 2010s, I was exposed to creepypastas. Or more accurately, my sister as a teen in the 2010s exposed me to creepypastas. I won't go into my history with creepypastas, but one night after watching a video that explained Sonic.exe, I'd woken up and saw the eyes of Sonic.exe staring back at me. I'd seen the seat of my bicycle, but in the dark it looked like Sonic.exe. I had to cover my bike up and couldn't sleep otherwise. I'd also placed my Sonic McDonald's game in my drawer, and every time I pulled it out, I was scared it would change. I was scared of practically every creepypasta I heard until I was around 9 or 10. The last thing I was terrified of was only 3 years ago. After I had my massive panic attack, got hit by a car, and stopped going outside, I was in a very fragile mental state. One day, I was watching a bunch of Shin Godzilla videos, and one of them used this clip of a sauropod throwing up blood. I got curious and looked it up, watching clips of the episode it came from. What I had seen was the infected sauropod from Season 1 of Primal, an Adult Swim show by the creator of Samurai Jack and Dexter's Lab, and I was petrified. When the giant sick dinosaur chased the main characters down, I imagined myself running from it. and that sent me into a spiral. While the logical side of my brain recognized what excellent horror it was and how good the art and animation were, my lizard brain was screaming. I won't put up a picture of it since while I'm not scared of it anymore, I don't want to see it while editing. If you're gonna look up the infected sauropod, do so at your own discretion. It's definitely not something to see or watch if you're a young child or easily scared. I was neither, and it still scared me. While I was scared of everything as a kid, I grew up to have a strong love of horror. The true horrors are real life stuff, like strangers or rabies or strangers with rabies. Oh yeah, I guess I'm also scared of rabies. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. The Halloween special will be 2 weeks from now, so stay tuned. See you next time. Bye!